Well, with the weather improving some days, many of us are anxious to get out into our gardens. And Perry Stothart from Classic Landscapes and Ellerslie Gift and Garden joins us this morning. Good morning, Perry. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me, as always.
Well, this is, there's just so many things to talk about. We only have 4 minutes, so we better get to it and pick out the more important ones. This time of the year, Perry, the snow has melted, obviously, and maybe we've done our yard work, but you look out at your lawn, and those of us who have dogs and don't position them in certain parts of the yard are noticing these spots. What can we do to repair those?
Yeah, it's always the toughest part of every spring is as a dog owner looking out at your beautiful yard and seeing that it's not quite as pretty as you'd like. And there are a couple of things we can do. Obviously, top dressing and seeding is one thing. There's a product out there that's like a dog spot almost treatment preventer in terms of the urine damage, and it's something you can use. It's actually a bit of a fertilizer, and it helps modulate the pH a bit so that the damage that is being caused by your pets isn't so dramatic. One of the issues with pets is that it's contained in a small area. It's like a fertilizer burn. If you could spread it out over a larger area, it'd actually be good for the lawn. And so that's one way that you can maybe, again, overcome some of the issues. Obviously, the best thing is training your pet to go in one area of the yard, but I know sometimes that can be more work than we're willing to do, and so here we are left with the cleanup afterwards.
Let's talk about seeding and sodding and the things we need to consider and to decide which one to do.
Yeah, I often get asked that question because, frankly, seed is less expensive. Obviously, you can do several hundred square feet, for just a few dollars worth of seed. But the fact is, if you're within the city, or you're in a home where you have existing turf, overseeding or doing some small patching areas is a good idea. If it's a new home, though, or a new yard, or maybe you're renovating, removing old sod and redoing an area, I would suggest using turf, using sod. The fact is, it just takes so much quicker. You don't have to fight weed growth along with the seed germination. If I was on an acreage and had a bigger area, I'd consider seed that way. But again, for the general homeowners here in the city, sod is definitely the way to go. It's relatively inexpensive, and frankly, after a week you can walk on it, and after a couple of weeks you're going to have to cut it. So it just gives you that sort of instant coverage and instant use that you're not going to get with seed. Most people struggle with seed because it doesn't come in evenly. And again, it can take, a couple of months to come in. And frankly, the sod you get, that you pick up at the garden center or get delivered is a couple of years old already. So, it gives you a good head start.
Let's just wrap things up talking about plants. We talk about the shortages of lumber and other things of late, and I know you've been telling me that you've done some amazing business with plants and other things during the pandemic because people have so much time and they want to get outside and do things. Is there a shortage of specific plants, Perry?
Yeah, it's interesting that we have, secured a large selection of plants this year, so we've been able to overcome that. I think the difference this year from last year is we kind of know what we're dealing with. Last year, everybody was unsure. Is everybody going to stay home? Is nobody going to come out and want to go to a garden center? And so we saw that, obviously, like you mentioned, was the opposite. It got very popular. People were enjoying the time spending at home. Even if it's forced, they kind of looked around and said, listen, I'm going to beautify this space so I can make it as enjoyable as possible. And I think a large portion of the population found that, it was a good stress reliever. And so we're seeing that. So we're able to be a little bit ahead of the game. But there's no question overall, because of the high demand, going through plant stock quicker. So if there's some unique plants, perhaps, like most rules, it's good to get it sooner rather than later if you want to make sure you have the best selection.
All right. Thank you, Perry. We will talk to you soon.
All right. Take care, Mike.
For more great ideas on how to make your yard the envy of the neighborhood, check out Classic Landscaping and Ellerslie Gift and Garden. They're located at 100th Street and 6th Avenue. For more information, you can call 780-988-9888. Visit them online at either classiclandscapes.com. You can also follow them through their Twitter handle at Classic Landscape. Stay with us. We're back after the break with a good four.